W.
You're going
T.
down 10.
L.
It's a big, hairy American winning machine. You ain't first, you're last.
W.
T. L.
And welcome everybody to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's only sports betting show. I'm your host, A&D Class, and joined by
Gibran.
the Parlay
Yes, sir.
Founder.
We're back.
And wouldn't you know it, we got some Thursday night NFL football
Yes,
coming
sir.
to you on Amazon Prime Video.
Yep.
7:15 kickoff, so that's only a few hours away.
Yeah.
Got to get them primed up, but I feel like we should address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Nebraska has a new head coach, interim head coach.
Interim head coach.
Yeah,
We don't have our for sure head coach yet, but Mickey is in the driver's seat right now, and Oklahoma's coming to town, so let's get nuts.
And we're going to talk about it, but
Yeah.
that line is taking some curious movements to say
For
the
sure.
least. We don't know what's going on with that, but we're going to dive into it and break it all down. That's coming later in the show, but first thing is first, let's get into this NFL matchup.
Yeah.
A lot of buzz. Of course, we got a local team that's on fire in the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the 4-point favorite, -4 over the visiting LA Chargers. Doesn't even sound right.
Yeah.
It's San Diego.
It's San Diego.
It's San
Well,
Diego. San Diego. Their money line for the Chargers is +175. Chiefs at a -205 with an over/under at 54. Where are you leaning, Gibran?
Yeah, this is a great matchup, divisional matchup. So I feel like that there's a couple stories going on here, Andy. You have the Chargers trying to take down their rival. Obviously, they're trying to make the next step. They're trying to become the Chiefs of the past, And then with the Kansas City Chiefs, they're on a revenge tour.
Yeah.
They're ready to just blow off all the doors. Everybody's saying that they can't do it without Tyreek. They can't do it without Honey Badger. All that kind of stuff. So there's two things you want to look at here. My biggest thing here, Andy, is Los Angeles or the Chargers might be 3-13 in its last 16 games against Kansas City.
Yeah.
But it has covered the spread in its last 5 of 7 trips to Arrowhead Stadium.
I like that.
The Chargers were able to pick up the split last year, which is, a big plateau for them. So
home and home.
I feel like they're, poised to take another step forward in that. And I think Sunday's game between them and between Kansas City and Arizona, I really think that showed us more about what Arizona is like more than what the Chiefs were like. That blowout that the Kansas City Chiefs put on the Cardinals, I think that kind of showed what year the Cardinals are going to have more than what the Chiefs are going to do this year. So I really like to take those points. I think this game is going to be probably fought, nail and nail until that last second field goal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whoever has the ball last is going to win. And I kind of like that over as well, Andy.
Well, and we've seen this, still early in the season, but you've seen it throughout where a line will open up at 4.5, and then it'll just creep down, especially in the NFL.
It will.
So I would not be surprised if this hits 3.5, then all the way down to 3 right before kickoff.
For sure.
So if you're sitting there where you're at, you want those points, as many as you can get.
I take the 4.
If you
right
like
now.
LA, take it right now. And this is where I got to say, Gibran, you ignorant schmuck.
All right.
You're exactly right. You made a whole case for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're on a revenge tour.
Yeah.
They blew Arizona out of the water. Kyler Murray's like, well, I don't have to practice at home, do I? Okay, well, we'll see where that gets you, buddy.
Yep.
On the road, puts it on him, 44 points. So I like your over there.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the Chiefs' offense is slowing down. If anything, I think they might try and ramp it up. I mean, more familiarity with the new receivers, all that good stuff. Kickoff at home, first home game. And also it's a division foe. So they know they need to start piling up these games, divisional games at least, when they get a chance to do it. And I don't think that's going to be lost on an Andy Reid coach team. I like Justin Herbert. I like some things about the Chargers, just not in this spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Kansas City can cover that 4, but I think if I wait, I think I can get it at 3 before kickoff.
I think
so. That's kind of where I'm looking.
I think you're absolutely right. The only reason that I'm kind of siding with the Chargers here is just because it seems that they can cover at Arrowhead. Not a lot of people can.
Right.
But the Los Angeles offense should be just as good as Kansas City, and I think the defense, they have a little edge there with those edge rushers in that defensive line and those safeties and corners.
I mean, are you up to date on the injury report?
I think so, as much as I can be.
In there, take the top off the defense receiver. Isn't he? He's kind of hurt right now.
Mike Williams?
No.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen.
Yes, he is hurt. Yes, I don't know if he's going to play. but it doesn't really hurt me that much that he doesn't play.
Well, I mean, just looking at some, stats, and we don't have a lot of them to go off of yet.
Yeah, for sure.
But like when he would exit the game, their average pass play was less than 5 yards or something like that.
Oh, for sure.
And when he's in the game, he extends the field.
He's the main target for sure.
Right.
I just think that they have enough weapons that they can score points no matter what the personnel is right now. So.
All right, and you like him covering that 4, and I
do.
think I can wait on it and take the Chiefs at an even better price than that.
All
I think we
righty.
both like the overs here at 54.
I do, for sure.
I mean, these are 2 offensive teams and 2 offensive-minded coaches, playmakers all over the field. That scoreboard is going to be lit
I think so.
in Arrowhead. That's a 7:15 kickoff, once again on Amazon Prime Video, and we think that's the only place you can kind of get it, right?
I think so. I think Bezos just kind of bought it out and said Thursday night is Amazon Prime.
I want all the books in the world, and I want the NFL too, and all the delivery times. Gonna get it. Okay.
Seems like he's gonna get it.
All right, let's move on to college football.
Yeah.
Friday night. This is a good one.
Yes.
Florida State versus Louisville, the Cardinals, and it looks like they're the dog here, a 2.5-point dog to Florida State.
Yeah. Like you said, this is a really good Friday night matchup on ESPN.
Yep.
Everybody's going to be tuning into it, trying to get into, that football mindset for the weekend.
6:30 kickoff.
Yep. Florida State followed up its season-opening win over an FCS school with upsetting LSU 24-23 at a neutral site at the Superdome in New Orleans, which really wasn't a neutral site. We were saying LSU owns the Superdome, so that was a very good win by SFU going in there and getting the win.
Well, hold on, I think I might have called that one.
I think you did.
Yeah,
I think you did. Their quarterback Jordan Davis has looked solid and reliable in FSU's first 2 wins.
Yep.
But it's the emergence of the Seminoles defense that really has me going, Andy. They limited LSU to 10 points through 56 minutes before a late surge
back and forth
before a late surge by the Tigers, but holding them to 5.3 yards of play. I think that was very good. I think it's very telling of what's going to happen, and I am siding with the Florida State Seminoles by 2.5 right now.
Okay, and are you still kind of remembering Syracuse kind of laying it on?
Yeah, for sure.
That week 1, 31-7. Malik Cunningham, we heard so much about the quarterback, for Louisville, how he's going to, just take the league by storm. And he went 16 of 22, 152 yards, 2 picks, 0 touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
However, he did have 13 rushes for 89 yards and a touchdown, so he can use his legs. Then in game 2, last week against UCF, they had a coach over there at one time.
Yeah, they did.
Undefeated season.
I think he's on the market again. I
think you're right. But anyway, they beat UCF the Knights. Kind of piling it on Scotty F there. But anyhow, won that game 20-14, and I really like what I saw out of Cunningham. It was kind of a bounce back game.
For sure.
14 of 29, 195 yards. 0 interceptions.
And they are 5.5-point dogs as well, Andy.
Right. I mean, so a lot of good things there.
Yeah.
0 touchdowns through the air, but 0 picks, where he had 2 picks in week 1. So he cleaned that up and got better with his legs.
Yeah, he got
17 carries, 120 yards, over a 7-yard average per carry, and a touchdown on top. So
Agreed.
I think Louisville is playing a better brand of football, and that's to be expected
for sure
earlier in the season. And where did you say? I mean, it's only 2.5, and it's in Louisville, but you still like Florida State.
I do. I just think they're a better overall football team, Andy.
Yeah.
And Cunningham, I have seen that he is still struggling with throwing the football.
Cunningham they limit him.
Yeah. He just completes 48% of his passes against UCF, and now competing against a much more talented Florida State defensive front that's going to come after him. I'll tell you what my best bet of this game, Andy, is Louisville has just scored 27 points all season right now, and they have their team total right now at 27.5. I'm going to hit the under on that bet. Yeah. I think it's a lock. I do not think that they're going to score more than 27 points on Florida State.
That's bizarre.
It is bizarre. And another thing that I would like to look at, Andy, in this game is that the over-under in this game is at 56.5 points. I think that is way too many points. I think Florida State might be able to get about 28 points. I do not see Louisville holding up their end of that to get all the way up to 56.5. So my favorite bet of this game is the Louisville team total under 27.5. backing that up by the overall game under at 56.5.
Now I like all that. And Florida State put on 47 points in week 1, but that was against like a high school team or something like that.
School, yes.
Yeah. And then they scored 24 against LSU in a wild one. But Jordan Davis, the quarterback for Florida State, went 20 of 32, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns. 0 interceptions against an LSU defense. 0 picks, 2 touchdowns. So just the quarterback comparison there. I mean, that's an oversimplification a lot of times, right? But I like what Jordan Davis is doing, especially through the air.
Travis,
Jordan Travis. Yeah. And he can use his legs too. 8 carries, 31 yards, 4-yard average, so when he has to, he can. So on that front alone, I will take that 2.5 with Florida State. I'll agree with you on that.
No doubt.
All right, let's get to one more Friday night college football game. 7 o'clock kickoff on CBS. Air Force, big favorite over Wyoming. What do you make of this? 15-point spread.
15-point favorite. Over-unders at 47, Andy. We have a Mountain West Conference season opener for both teams.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Air Force, coming off a huge win against Colorado, beating them 41-10 last week, taking them to 2-0. Wyoming, on the other hand, they're 2-1 now with a 33-10 victory over Northern Colorado last week.
Yeah, it was a good win.
It's a good win for them. Yeah. My best bet on this one is I am taking the points with Wyoming. I just got a few things here, Andy. Since 2015 in the Western Mountain West Conference, Wyoming is 13-7 against the spread when listed as a home underdog, and Air Force is 9-12 against the spread as the away favorite.
as a road favorite.
Yes. Air Force is also 0-5 against the spread over their last 5 matchups in Laramie. So I think this is a good bet to cover the spread on Friday night for the Cowboys.
Wyoming really ticked me off in, week for 0, losing to Illinois 38-6. I mean, I really thought they could hang in there better than that. But they bounced back against Tulsa a week later. Won a thriller in overtime, 40-37. And their quarterback, Andrew Peasley, Peasley? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He really showed me something there. Went 20 of 30 for 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Also had 10 carries for 45 yards. So he kind of turned a corner there, I feel, early in the season, kind of that bounce back game against Tulsa. And I feel like Tulsa's more on par with Air Force. Compared to what Illinois brought to the table. No doubt. So for that reason alone, I like Wyoming as well, covering that 15 points, and they're at home. I mean, what are we talking about here? It's a home dog like that over 2 touchdowns?
Agreed.
Get out of here.
One quick, crap. I got one last thing I want to throw in here, Andy. This contest opened up at 50-point over-under, and it's already been bet down to 47.5. That should show you that Air Force dominates the clock with 38.5 minutes per game. It's no surprise the under is 11-3 over the last 14 meetings between these schools. So I like that 47.5 under right now where most books are sitting at. So if anybody is going to do it, hit that under. Keep moving. Maybe even parlay with the Cowboys covering.
Oh, I love it. So come on now, parlay. So you're doing a 2-leg. You're doubling up on the Air Force.
You might as well double up on it. If you're going to sit there and lollygag on Friday night, parlay the Cowboys in the under there. Just go with it.
They heard it straight from the Parlay Pounder. Hey, before we let you go, you heard the clock there. We're up against it, but let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners. That is Play Action Pools, as they are revolutionizing group hosting platforms. Make it your new spot for all your football contest needs. Play today at playactionpools.com. This is WTL. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And welcome everybody to WTL. Where's the line? I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Gibran,
the Parlay Pounder.
Yeah, we're back.
Nebraska's only sports betting show. And here we go on a beautiful Saturday morning. Going to get everyone ready to rock and roll here for a 1 o'clock kickoff. Ohio visiting Iowa State, going over to Ames.
Yes, sir.
They're going to find themselves the old Bobcats, a big-time dog here, 18-point dog to Iowa State.
Yep, and we got a 47.5-point over-under, Andy. The Cyclones step onto the field holding a 2-0 record this season. The last time they stepped off the field, they took the game in Iowa City against the Hawkeyes, 10-7. It was awesome. We picked that one right. The Hawkeyes, failed to score any points, kind of like we predicted. The unders hit, the Cyclones hit,
Across
all
the
that
board.
kind of stuff. And I see a lot more of that happening this weekend, Andy. I really think that they are just a way better team than this Ohio football team.
Yeah.
The Iowa State Cyclones have averaged over 391 yards per contest, which is good for 77th overall in college football. The Iowa State has only given up 156 rushing yards, Andy, as well as only one touchdown by the way of the ground game this season. I just really think this is going to be too much for them. I really like the 18-point spread for the Cyclones.
Wow.
Man, I know it's a big one. But this is probably one of my most locked in bets this weekend.
Unlike last week where I slipped up a couple of times, and I hate to take those home favorites when these spreads get out like this, like 18, 19 points.
Yeah.
But here we have a home favorite in Iowa State, and Ohio's playing the league up.
Yeah,
for lack of a better term. And once again, it's on ESPN Plus, 1:00 kickoff. But I think people remember last week Penn State.
Yeah.
Kind of taking it to Ohio, 46-10. But the week before that against Florida Atlantic, they scored 41 points.
Yeah.
Kind of won a shootout there.
Yeah.
So if you can get somewhere between that, because I don't think Iowa State's as good as Penn State. I don't think their defense is as good.
Yeah.
Penn State's ranked. For what it's worth, they're ranked at least. So I think if Ohio can score somewhere between what they did at Florida Atlantic and against Penn State, give me 20 points.
Yeah.
They might have a chance to cover this.
All right. I get what you're saying, Andy, but the Iowa State Cyclones defense has only given up 17 points all year. In 2 games, they've only given up 17 points, and I don't think that this Ohio team, not Ohio State. I don't think this Bobcats team is anything different than what the Iowa State guys have already shut out and held under that. So I really like this line, and I might even look at that under just because I don't think Ohio is going to put any points up on the board.
Well, they put 10 on Penn State.
Yeah.
But
I like the defense of the Cyclones. I really do.
Okay, and then the offense probably won't have to be tuned up that much to where it's going to reach out.
They're averaging almost 400 yards a game, Andy.
Yeah.
On defenses that are a lot better than Ohio.
Yeah.
Iowa is one of the for all their faults this year, they keep the game in a low-scoring thing. Yeah. So I really don't see them stopping this offense. Ohio stopping Iowa State. And I really think they're just going to run away with it. I'm really thinking this might be a 38-7 kind of game.
I've just been burned so many times already with these big spreads. I might shy away from that one.
Yes, sir.
I might let that one hopefully get a little closer there if I do want to sprinkle something on it. And the under, you're probably pretty good there with that under. I like that one. All right, so let's move on to the 2:00 kickoff also on ESPN Plus. That is the Green Wave.
Yeah.
Tulane taking on K-State. And, we know a couple guys that play over at K-State now.
ATM or A2M, whatever you want to call him. Adrian Martinez.
He's playing well.
Yeah, starting off 2-0. Everybody's saying, look at his stats. They aren't that good. All the stats that I really care about is that they're 2-0.
Right.
And the team that he left just lost to
Georgia Southern. Don't call them Georgia State. They don't like that.
Yeah. But no, where's the line on this, Andy?
It looks like we got a 14-point favorite for Kansas State. Over-under set at 48.
Yes, sir.
That's probably right on there.
Yeah, that's going to be sitting there, right where people want to bet it at. The Wildcats' rushing attack this year, Andy, has just been unprecedented.
Well, they got a great running back and a good running quarterback.
Exactly.
We know that.
Deuce Vaughn is literally one of the best running backs in college football, just not the Big 12, in all of college football. And we already know from all the years of watching Adrian that he can run the ball. It was just a fumble situation with us all the time, but it seems like he has that under control. It seems like he's going to have his 75 to 85 yards rushing every week to go on top of Deuce's almost 200. I really think that they're going to pull away from the Green Wave here. I am predicting this score to be at 41-17 for the Wildcats. I really think that this over is going to hit.
Okay,
and
I like
the
that.
Spread is going to hit.
Okay, I really like that over.
Yeah.
Tulane, the Green Wave, they are sitting at 2-0.
Yes, sir.
And they kind of had what could have been a bounce back game for them. Didn't have to be that way against Alcorn State last week, where they won 52-0. Okay, and there's this guy, you might recognize this name, Michael Pratt, their quarterback.
Yeah.
He is surgical.
For sure.
Went 17 of 21, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. And
Yes,
he was
sir.
out. He basically didn't even play the fourth quarter last week.
Right.
So this guy, for that alone, I like the over hitting at that 48. K-State at home, 2 touchdowns. You think they can do it, but man, I like the offense that Tulane's playing, and we've seen Kansas State lay an egg.
Yeah.
I mean, they can beat Texas, okay?
They can.
Yeah,
they can beat Oklahoma.
They can beat Oklahoma, but
Yeah.
I mean, this is a perfect trap game for them, if you ask me. And I don't like. Once again, you're talking 18, you're talking 14 points.
Yeah.
At least it's at home. I can give you that.
Okay. I'm just going to keep going back to it. The Wildcats' rushing attack is going to prove too much for them, especially at the end of the game. Deuce Vaughn is going to be a highlight tape.
Okay.
With the strongest O-line of Adrian Martinez's career, the Cats bully Tulane's defense, and it's really going to be a packed house at K-State. They're going to blow them out.
All right, yeah,
they're going to blow them out.
Okay, you're bullying me into it too. Then this is an FCS versus an FBS school.
Yes,
I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the 2:30 kickoff on Fox. BYU versus Oregon. Now, this is interesting.
Yes.
Oregon, at home, the 4-point favorite. We have an over-under of 58.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
You know,
number 12 BYU, number 25 Oregon. I mean, these are two of the best.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, this is must-see TV, Andy.
Yep.
And, the college football world is kind of, paying attention to what's going on in Provo right now. BYU is one of the hottest teams in the country, coming after an upset victory against number 9 Baylor last week.
Yep, that turned some heads.
Yeah, Oregon is going to have their hands full with this defense, and they have a tremendously brilliant quarterback in Jaron Hall. Christopher Brooks is the running back, a transfer from Cal. He's going to have over 1,000 rushing yards this year pretty easily. God, I really like BYU in this situation. I know that we're going into Oregon. And the only demerit to Oregon, and to be fair to Oregon, is they played the defending national champions Georgia
in week 1
and got thrashed.
Yeah.
But
49-3.
Who's not going to get thrashed by Georgia? So I really like taking the points here for BYU for them covering, just because I think it's going to be one of those back and forth type of games, Andy.
And here's where the Pac-12, for all of its faults, and Oregon kind of helped themselves out. Yes, they scheduled Georgia in week 1.
Yeah.
Okay, that's tough, right? We know it is. The defending champs, number 1, all that stuff coming to town. But then they had Eastern Washington on the schedule to follow up, and boy, did they take care of business.
Yes.
70-14. Bo Nix was fabulous.
Yes.
28 of 33 through
Crazy.
the air.
Absolutely
277 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. The Ducks are flying high. Once again, they're feeling good. I like them covering 4 at home against BYU. I'm buying the BYU Cougar Kool-Aid.
For sure.
Okay, I really am. But I think Oregon is in a great spot here at home, coming off of, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, a big win. It's a game they're supposed to win.
For sure.
But they took care of business. They looked like they were supposed to.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and BYU, they might have a little bit of a hangover coming off a high like that.
Yeah, it does happen like that, Andy. We'll split on that, Andy, but I think I can figure out something that we're both going to hit on, and that is the over. It's at 58 points.
Yeah.
The total over has hit in the last 5 of 7 BYU matches, and the over has hit in Oregon's 4 of the last 5 contests. So I really like both of these teams to score. I think 58 is right where it should be, and I'm taking that. It's going to get close to 60, 65.
Yeah,
so I really like that. We're split on the teams, but
both
the over's going.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
All right, then let's move it to the nightcap on ESPN. 8 o'clock kickoff. 2 ranked teams squaring off here. Miami, the Hurricanes.
Yes.
Taking on Texas A&M, the Aggies. They're the favorite, -5.
Yeah. Like you said, number 13, Miami, going against number 24, Texas A&M. My book has it at 5.5. I know some have it at 5 still. If I were a betting man, which I am,
there we go.
I am taking these points for Miami right now, going into Texas A&M.
Really?
Yeah. I know it's a little weird, but
they are ranked higher.
They are ranked higher, and I believe Texas A&M just laid a goose egg to somebody. Yeah. Appalachian State just came in and beat them.
So you don't think they're going to come out with their hair on fire
at
home?
I mean, it's going to be good.
You think they're going to let that game beat them twice?
Yeah. The one thing that I'm looking here, Andy, is the quarterback play for the Texas A&M Aggies. Haynes King had a terrible game against Appalachian State, only passed for 97 yards. The Miami defense came into this year having a good amount of talent and has done really good so far.
Yeah.
They've had 3 interceptions and 2 sacks in the first game, and then forced another 3 turnovers in week 2. I just really like this spot for Miami. I think they're the better team, especially on the defensive end of the ball.
Yeah.
And I'm taking that plus. I'm taking those plus points and go to the bank with it.
And I just checked my book, the one that I usually go to, and it's at 5.5, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Plus 175 for Miami. So once again, you make a $100 wager for a 175 payout.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty good deal there. Just kind of looking up and down some of these other bets here. ATS. Miami, okay, plus 5.5. Okay, over under. I don't know. Miami's 2-0 against the money line.
Yeah.
Okay. A&M's 1-1.
Yeah.
So
it's just what it is. Like we said, this is kind of a weird spot. It's must-see TV.
It's 2 good teams.
2 very good teams, both in the top 25. A&M may have slipped up early, and this is a bounce-back game for them. But I really think this is going to be a very close game, and I think Miami can keep this at least till 3. To 3. So
that's
I would bet this. I would bet this down to 3 points.
Okay, well, I mean, and then if we move on to ATS, A&M is 0-2 on the season. Miami's 1-1, so you can't put a lot of stock in any of those.
Exactly.
And it's early in the season, right?
Yep.
I feel like, how many times have we seen the ACC just totally the bed?
Yeah, for sure.
Especially against the SEC.
Yep.
I think this is a spot where A&M can get right, can flex, get back on top. I don't put too much stock into the rankings, especially in the season.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Miami's ranked ahead, right? 13.
For sure.
A&M's at 24. But you lost to Appalachian State, and you still didn't drop out of the rankings.
Exactly.
So I think that says something.
No,
so
they're
I think we're gonna have
good teams.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to split on that one. I like A&M at home.
Okay.
I can't get caught up taking too many of these road teams.
The only thing with A&M right now is what I'm saying is that quarterback play, and I think that Jimbo Fisher might have a little bit of a conundrum. I think he might actually replace him mid-game this week if Miami's getting to him a little bit. So that's one thing to look at. So I really think that Miami's going to get on him early, create some turnovers, and A&M's kind of going to be reeling on the sideline a little bit.
Hey, that very well could happen. And what do you think of that over-under 44.5? I'm seeing that a kind of consensus across all the books.
Yeah, I just don't know what to think about this, Andy, because I really think that Miami might put a shellacking on them and might be able to score that.
You think Miami could score 44 on their own?
I think they can score their half of it. I think they might be able to get 21, 28 points.
Okay.
But I really don't know if Texas A&M, with that quarterback play, is going to be able to put up points like we need to cover this. So I am staying away from that, Andy. If I had to go anywhere on it, I would take the under. But you know me, I'm not much of an unders guy.
Yeah, that's no fun. Always got to hammer those overs if you can.
Yes, sir.
You got a parlay at anything here on Saturday?
I have a parlay, but I'm waiting till next segment to give that out. People have to stick around for the parlay pounders picks.
Well, let's go ahead and give a little kudos, a little shout out to one of our fabulous sponsors. That is the Nebraska Brewing Company. This week we're drinking one of their IPAs that's on their series here. It's a West Coast IPA called Prestige Worldwide, and where have we heard that before?
I believe that's from the movie Step Brothers.
I think
Prestige Worldwide.
Now that's the voice right there. Don't go to her, folks. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Gibran.
The Parlay Pounder.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to finish strong here. We got a whole NFL slate here we got to get to. And there's some intrigue here heading into week 2. Let's dive right into it. Houston traveling to Denver, 3:30 kickoff on CBS. And you might be surprised to know this. The Broncos are the favorites, a heavy favorite, -10 over-under at 45.5.
Yeah, it's really weird, Andy, knowing that the Houston Texans have a better record. At least they've tied a game.
Uh-huh.
The Broncos lost on Monday Night Football.
A 2-year point, Houston's 1-0 ATS. Denver, they're 0-1.
Exactly.
ATS and otherwise.
Yeah, no, Denver last week was a huge lock for everybody to cover that spread. Mm-hmm. Most people were figuring that Seattle would be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Geno Smith really proved a lot of people wrong week one. And
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah, there's kind of a bonehead play by the head coach by the Broncos. Everybody's saying at the end of the game there, kicking a 64-yard field goal instead of going for it on fourth down.
I like how he called all of his timeouts after the fact.
Yeah.
That was neat.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah, but like you said, the Broncos are a -10 favorite here. Over-under sitting at about 45.5 on most books. It's probably gonna,
I didn't see nothing from the Broncos offense. I wanted to see more. Russell Wilson, 29 of 42, 69%. Completion percentage, that's pretty good. 340 yards, a touchdown, no picks.
Yeah.
QBR rating of 110, that's good. That's really good.
It is.
They just had some goofy things happen to him. 2 fumbles, on the 1-yard line?
Within the 5-yard line.
Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams on my fantasy team. That's what everyone loves to hear.
Exactly.
Other people's fantasy teams.
No, I really think that they're probably going to beat up on the Texans here, Andy.
Yeah.
I do like the -10. I really think the Broncos are going to bounce back. Russell Wilson's too good of a player not to bounce back.
And he didn't have a bad game.
He didn't have a bad game, but he's one of those guys where if he loses, that he wants to really get that win on the next one. And the Houston Texans, as good as they tried, they did, tie one of the better teams in the AFC South in the Indianapolis Colts. Our buddy Rex Burkhead led the team in offense with 14 carries for 40 yards.
Husker shout out.
Exactly, but that is the extent of their offense right now. That is their best running back at 40 yards per game. Davis Mills is their quarterback. He didn't have a bad game, going 23 of 37 for 240 yards through the air with 2 TDs. I just really think that this pass rush of the Denver Broncos, starring another Nebraska guy, Randy Gregory, had a fumble recovery.
Had an impact play.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So I really like the Broncos by 10 here. I really don't know what to make of this over-under, though, Andy.
I think that 45.5 it does bring a moment of pause there. But just looking up and down the stat sheets for the Broncos here, they should have won that game.
Oh, for sure.
It was just kind of fluky with those 2 fumbles, inside the 5-yard line or at the goal line. But Jerry Jeudy, over 100 yards receiving. Cortland Sutton had 72 yards receiving. Williams had 65 yards receiving.
Exactly.
And Andrew Beck, whoever that is, he had another 52 yards receiving. So
he has the weapons there, Andy.
Yeah.
And
that's not going to happen twice in a row.
They just didn't convert when they needed to. Yep. Cortland Sutton got a whole bunch of more targets than what that 72 yards is looking at there. And Melvin Gordon, it looks like they're kind of split carries.
Yeah,
so those guys are going to be fresh. So.
Well, it looks like he's the carry guy. He's going to tote the rock more on the ground. And Williams is a nice complimentary back, third down back, receiving
Yeah, for
back.
sure.
So I think that's the way that they're going to go with that. And
yeah.
I like Denver's offense other than, clock management, I guess. Like, what are they doing?
Nope, I like the 10 points, and that's a good pick.
All righty, so let's move on then to the Sunday night game. And it's the Chicago Bears heading on over to Green Bay. Once again, another 10-point line in the NFL.
Yeah.
Green Bay is the favorite. This is kind of curious as well because, I don't know, did I see what I needed to see from Green Bay in week 1?
No, they look real flat, Andy. And those, like we were saying all preseason, that those weapons of Aaron Rodgers, they're just aren't there this year. Alan Lazard didn't play, which is supposed to be their number 1 receiver, didn't play. So literally they were toting Randall Cobb as their biggest threat on the offensive end besides Aaron Rodgers. And that is going to fall out at some point. Aaron Rodgers is good enough to beat everybody. Probably not by himself. Yeah. It's the same way with Tom Brady. Everybody's like, well, it's Tom Brady. You still have to have those weapons to go along with it. So right now, Andy, I think I might be taking a stab with the Chicago Bears here with that 10 points.
You'd be in the majority right now. 74% of the bets are coming in on Chicago. And also that money line is plus 350 for Chicago. So break that down real quick. You make a $100 bet.
Yeah.
Wager.
Yep. to win 350. Yeah.
You got to love that. And on the other side,
you got to love that. And there's no value with taking Green Bay at a minus 500 on most books. You're putting up $500 to win 100. There's just no value there. Plus, you don't really know if they're going to win or not.
And there could be a case to be had here that Justin Fields, in the terrible conditions in Chicago, the little tsunami thing, that was wild, but it was fun to watch, outplayed Aaron Rodgers, 2 touchdowns to 1 pick in terrible conditions, and Rodgers, no touchdowns, 1 pick, QBR rating, I think it was nothing impressive. Let's see here, 72.
Yeah.
Under 200 yards passing, I mean, there's a lot to be.
It was just bad for Green Bay. The defense didn't look bad, Andy, but the offense gave away a couple turnovers and were 3 of 9 on third down conversions, which is really when Chicago is going to use the best part of their defense coming after the quarterback. So I really like the Chicago Bears at plus 10 here. Yep. Aaron Rodgers does own them, but maybe they can overtake that this time.
Hey, this is kind of how I'm leaning with my Huskers. Maybe I'm not betting on them to win outright, but they can cover. And I can get excited about that.
I do like a minus.
They're down, baby.
Yeah,
they're going to cover that 10.
I wouldn't take the -7 or the -3, but I will take the 10 points for the Chicago Bears.
Once again, I mean, it's early, but Chicago's 1-0 ATS. Green Bay.
Yep. That's the way it goes.
It's hilarious. All right, so let's move on to the main event. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks are talking about this one.
Yes.
Monday night, 7:30, ABC, the Minnesota Vikings are traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Kickoff at 7:30.
Yeah.
Philadelphia has the edge here, a 2-point favorite, money line -140 on the Eagles.
Yeah, and the over/under sitting at 50.5 there, Andy. Man, this is must-see TV.
A lot of books have it at 51.
Yeah,
already.
Yep, and it's probably gonna. I've seen it as high as 52.5, Andy. Yeah. My book has it at 50 right now, so I might hop on that. But this is must-see TV. 2 of the best teams in the NFC right now, Andy.
Yep.
And both of them really look good in their opening games. Both are 1-0. Oh, man. The Minnesota Vikings have lost 6 of their last 9 road games, Andy, which puts a little damper on about what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I really like the points for the Minnesota Vikings here. I am going to hop on the +2 right now and take these Minnesota Vikings. I just think they're more of a team right now than they have been in prior years.
Okay.
Justin Jefferson literally looked like the best player in the NFL, and Dalvin Cook just had a measly 100 yards, and
he had 90 yards on 20 attempts for a 4.5-yard average. Okay, he didn't have 100 yards.
Exactly.
Don't give him that.
Exactly. And and we're always forgetting about the odd man out here, Adam Thielen. That guy always seems to just come in the clutch. Primetime games, he's gonna find the end zone, guys.
He had 3 catches last week. A little down for him, but still,
exactly.
He was involved.
I'm just saying, in these primetime games, he is gonna find the end zone. Kirk's gonna find him. I really, really like the Minnesota Vikings to cover here and probably win outright.
You and a lot of others, 70% of the bets are pouring in right now with Minnesota, so that's kind of curious. Maybe give you a little moment to pause there.
Yeah,
money line at +110, so you get that plus money.
Yeah.
With the Vikings. I can't get away from some of these stats that Kirk Cousins put up last week.
Yes.
184 yards alone to Justin Jefferson. Over a 20-yard average with those 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely
and
crazy.
And he was getting those double teams, and he was still beating them. But Cousins, a quarterback rating of 128, 277 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. What more do you need to see from this guy?
Yeah, I don't know, Andy. And, even with the Packers' injuries last week, against Minnesota, the way the Vikings dominated on both sides of the ball was one of the more impressive things that I saw all weekend. And talking about the Eagles, sure, the Lions are a better team than most people think, but the Eagles struggled defensively and had a hard time against the run, which is going to play right into the Minnesota Vikings, busting it up the middle with Dalvin and then going over top with play action. Yep. So basically, I'm going to say let's pump the brakes with all the Eagles hype, and the Minnesota Vikings have a lot of value as the underdog here, and I think they have a good chance at, actually capturing the NFC crown this year.
And I usually like to disagree with you, but this is one where we're on the same page.
Yeah.
The books have it wrong. Minnesota should be favored.
Yep.
Not the Eagles. I like what Jalen Hurts has done in spots, but I mean, he didn't have any touchdowns through the air last week.
Yeah.
He had a quarterback rating of around, just over 80.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was just serviceable.
Yeah.
That's defendable. And I like Minnesota's defense.
For sure.
And I like their offense even more.
They're better than the Detroit Lions.
The Eagles, what everyone's saying about the Eagles is, well, they're probably going to win the division just because.
Well, it is probably just because.
But that doesn't mean you're going to beat some of the elite teams.
It doesn't mean you're going to beat the NFC North.
Even at home. So roll with the Vikings.
Yes, sir.
Now, Jabron.
Yeah.
It's in your namesake.
Yes.
You are the Parlay Pounder.
I am the Parlay Pounder.
What are you pounding Sunday and Monday?
Yes. So I already alluded to one of these picks. I am taking the Cincinnati Bengals by 7 over the Dallas Cowboys without Dak Prescott. I am throwing in the pick that we just did with the Denver Broncos minus 10, and then doing the +2 with the Minnesota Vikings. Putting $25 on that will get me $152 in return. I think these 3 have a very good chance of hitting, so that is my parlay for Sunday.
Lock it up. And you want to talk about plus money? There it is right there with the 3 leggers.
Yes, sir.
Lager. That's what we're looking for here. All right, so that'll about do it for this week. Folks, be sure to follow us on all of our platforms. YouTube, coming out with a lot of those short videos. Those are fun picks, weekly picks. Twitter, TikTok. Got a lot of free picks, hilarious short videos, feature-length episodes. Come out that every week. For Jabron, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Klassen. Thanks for listening. This has been WTL.